Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Get Your Goddess Groove On Radio. I am your host, Laura Hosford, and today I am so excited to bring a very special guest on the show and a very dear friend of mine as well. And so today we are going to be talking about the wings of Isis, the goddess of magic. So I can't wait for this very cool show that we're about to present to you. So thank you for joining us. So Goddess Isis embodies the pure magic of devoted love. Isis is an ancient Egyptian goddess of love, fertility, resurrection, and magic. And so today, please help me to welcome and to join my very special guest, Carolyn Jones, the energy architect, as together we discuss the healing power of the goddess Isis and how she can invoke magic into your life now. We will be taking your calls and your questions, so be sure to call in if you'd like to ask Carolyn a question during the show, or write in as well. So let me just share a little bit about Carolyn's background. Carolyn Jones is the energy architect. She's an intuitive channel for the divine, a Reiki master teacher, and she's also the co-founder of the Holistic Institute of Wellness. Her focus is to help you connect to your own internal guidance system and divine team while assisting you to understand the essential role that your personal energy plays in your life and how it affects everything around you. Carolyn's philosophy is simple. When your energy is clear and aligned, an alchemical process occurs, producing powerfully positive results. So, my dear friend, Carolyn, thank you so much and welcome to the show. Carolyn, I can tell you this woman is a super special woman in my life, and she brings so many blessings to so many others in her community. She has the most loving heart, and she just displays the energy of Divine Mother so beautifully. I'm just so grateful and blessed to have her as a friend in my life. So welcome to the show, Carolyn.
Laura, thank you so much. It's an absolute privilege to be here today. I'm so excited. And I'm so excited to be in this space with you. I think it's just a beautiful sharing today, and just such a beautiful representation of our friendship and our journey that you and I've been on together, right? For the last,
Yes.
decade or more.
Yeah, since like 2008, I was reflecting on that, and how we met through the LifeWorks coaching school here in Atlanta. And
Yes.
you had just you had already gone through the program, and you were actually helping to assist in the program, and you were just such a beautiful mentor and so inspirational for me in my journey, and helped me out in the very beginning in such beautiful, powerful ways. So yeah, and look how far we've come and grown, and how everything is just amazing. So
Yeah.
yes.
Well, the feeling's mutual. You have helped me as well, my friend. You were one of my very first clients, and really helped me step into the role of tapping into the divine, and being confident, I should say, to bring those messages through. So I appreciate all the support you've given me through the years.
You are so welcome. And that's really, I think, that part of our journey together here is to, no one has to go through this process alone. We are all helping each other along the way, as light workers, as visionaries, as star seeds, as empaths, as healers. And, I just think it's a beautiful weaving together of the goddess energy. And I know that even before I really got in touch with my own goddess energy, she was leading the way for me on my own journey. So I'd love to hear a little bit more. I'd love for you to share with our audience a little bit more about you and your background and how you got started, or what you'd like to share.
Sure. So I was thinking, reflecting on this, and my story is, I can't say that I had like a major awakening. I really don't remember not being awakened, Laura. And I think that is a testament to the background that I had, my my family of origin. I chose to be born into a family that was already very awakened spiritually. So I grew up in a very spiritually minded environment. And I think that allowed me to express my gifts and to be more open. However, and where my challenge came was fitting into the world around me, right?
Mhm.
And so as I got older and I was trying to fit in and, make sense of everything and everyone around me, that's where I struggled a bit. There were times when I thought, oh my gosh, did I get off on the wrong planet? Because I didn't have anyone to share things with that was my own age. I had my parents and their friends, which I'm grateful for, but I just didn't have anyone of my own age. And I struggled fitting in. But now I know that I wasn't meant to fit in.
And welcome back, everyone. So it looks like Isis has made her presence known already, and I can actually feel her. And Carolyn and I were just discussing how, and what I'm actually seeing is a huge vortex of energy that's wanting to come in and through this call, so that's surrounding us. So we've asked to tone it down a bit, but let's talk some more about Goddess Isis. And maybe how did she first appear in your life, Carolyn, or tell us or share with us? We're like wanting to know what happened.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, Laura, because about 4 years ago in 2016, I was introduced to the Sophia Code, which I know that you're very well aware of. And the Sophia Code is an incredible book, and there's a tremendous amount of goddesses that, gosh, I've worked with throughout my spiritual life. And I've always been very drawn to the Divine Mother, Mother Mary. And so, of course, she was in the book. And but anyway, one of the first goddesses that you go through is Goddess Isis. And I was really drawn to her also because I know now that she is part of that Mother Mary lineage. So it made perfect sense that I would be. And I went through of course, the complete invocation, initiation, all of that, and felt really connected with her. However, nothing really transpired from that. I still continued to work well, I don't want to say nothing transpired. That's not exactly true, but I wasn't seeing her, feeling her, she wasn't coming through as far as channeling. And I continued to work with the Divine Mother. However, then let's fast forward up to January of this year. And I was leading with my co-founder, Jana Katovitz. I was leading one of our Reiki master teacher retreats up in the mountains. And our student, Madison, had brought a deck, an Isis Goddess Oracle deck. And of course, in these classes, these weekends, they're very sacred, very special. So we always set sacred space. We call everybody's divine team in to be there and to share. And so we were sharing through the weekend, and Madison on the first night actually had brought the Goddess Isis deck in for us to play with and to share and whatever. And so at that particular time in my life, Laura, I was going through some things. Just I felt like there was a part of me that was still kind of stuck in the past, and you know how those pieces of you will just kind of pull you backwards a little bit or keep you stuck. And I felt like I'd been working on this like for years, and it was really, really frustrating me. So I was really ready to get in touch with what that was and to let that go. And of course, that wasn't the focus of my weekend, because my weekend focus was on the student, right?
Right.
So, but as we know, the divine works in mysterious ways. So when when it came time for us to share, and I actually drew the Wings of Isis card and went through the invocation and the initiation, the ritual that is given in that card. I felt, Laura, this surge of energy
Wow.
like I'm feeling right now, but this surge of energy that came into my body, into my presence. And it was Isis, and she was reminding me of my divine self, my angelic self. That's what the message was all about, and who I was on a higher level. And it was all about me learning to master those lower energies within my field, to overcome those and to see those for what they are, and to learn how to transmute them into the light. And so from that space, she has been with me constantly through this year. And it has just felt like a transformational year in so many ways, on so many levels. And her energy is so beautiful and strong and powerful. And she really represents, just to me, like that ultimate divine feminine, because she can be very strong and yet very loving and compassionate. And she carries, to me, carries that love and compassion like Mother Mary does. And then she comes in with this beautiful fire and strength and transformation and magic and alchemy, that really will assist the initiate to be able to transform in their life. So it's just an incredible energy. And I'm so humbled that I have this opportunity to work with this energy.
Yeah, and I can feel it coming through so powerfully through the heart chakra now. And it's so interesting when the goddesses are just kind of carrying us along, and then they're really starting to reveal themselves to us now. And I've seen this in some of my other client sessions, where in that session a goddess will make her presence known to want to work with that client, because they're coming to gift them their gifts, and gift them with the strength and the courage and the love, and to help to give them, the endurance, I think, and the stamina that we need, and to help us to really begin to embody those energies. And this is how I feel like the goddesses are returning to the planet. They're returning through us.
Yes.
And, literally, I mean, real, and I'm loving this. This is so, so powerful, Carolyn. And this is amazing. So maybe share with us a little more about maybe some messages she shared with you, or something that our community might be able to learn more about Isis and who she is.
Yeah, absolutely, Laura. So wanted to comment on one of the things you said about coming in for specific clients. And that is something that I noticed that she does. Like, she doesn't come in for everyone, but it's almost she comes in for the ones like she recognizes as initiates from long ago. And it's very easy for me now to look at someone and to sense their energy, and to know that they carry that Isis energy within them. And so I notice that there is a commonality of individuals that I'm noticing her show up for. And so it's just so beautiful to watch this. And so she's brought through so many beautiful gifts. And one of the things that she's taught to me and some of my clients, and she calls it the golden fire breath. And it's very powerful. So, it's very similar to a couple of other things I've studied. One is in Reiki, when we give the attunement, it's called the violet breath, but you literally put the tip of your tongue right behind your teeth, and you draw in that breath, but you close up the circuits in the body. So it like holds the energy like this, and it creates like this kind of circular vortex. And then you can blow that breath, and where like in Reiki, you're blowing more of that violet breath to open up the crown when you give an attunement. In this, you're blowing that golden breath, you're visualizing golden light. And she often shows me like an ankh as the symbol. And you blow that golden breath onto like a particular, let's say, situation, or maybe an energy that you're struggling with. You visualize that particular challenge in your life, and you blow that breath on it, and then it just dissipates. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And the
Wow.
other, yeah, it's really, really powerful.
So is that coming up from, when you're drawing up that breath, is it coming up from the sacral? Is it coming up from the bottom of the root chakra through from Mother Earth, or do you know?
Yeah, great question, Laura. It's kind of a combination of both. Okay, so it starts at the feet, and you're drawing up from the earth, and it comes into the root, but it really gets activated around the sacral, and then it
Ah,
just pulls all the way up.
wow.
So yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
I can feel it as you're doing that. I can feel the power of that vortex spinning with that golden energy.
Mhm.
Wow, wow, wow.
And so Isis told me several months ago that some of the original shamans were Egyptians. And so she's very much about educating, about working with the earth and the earth elements in the four directions. Like this morning, for example, as I was preparing for this call with you and asking her what she wanted me to share today, she had me set up like a ritual with just some tea lights and to honor the four directions and to light a candle in each of those directions and call in the energy. So she's very connected to the earth and encourages us to work with the earth and to utilize the energy of the earth and to bring that up through our vessel, up through our energy channels. And man, you talk about a surge. It's
Yeah,
like you
I
have
can
to
feel
kind
it.
of hold on, you know?
Yeah, like you almost need to get seat belted in or buckled in to your seat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. You know,
Absolutely.
and it's interesting because I'm just wondering, like, also, like, I've had that same experience you were describing, where different goddesses come to different clients, and they're coming at a time when I feel like that it's that for there to be a higher self integration, or with that aspect of that goddess, and that goddess is now showing up in that person's life to guide them forward, to connect with them in very personal ways, and just like you're describing here, to bring in these new, or bring back the memories and bring back the shaman tools and bring back the
Hmm.
practices. And really, it's almost like I feel like they're overlaying their energies on the top of that person.
Hmm.
And but I also am wondering too, that I feel like as we move along in our own sacred journey, that sometimes we might have more than one goddess come to us at a certain particular period of time,
Hmm.
and depending on where we are in the journey. And have you noticed that, or do you have any reflections on that?
I absolutely do. And I wanted to comment as well, Laura, on what you were saying about kind of the overlay and what I've experienced within myself and what I'm noticing in my clients. It's an actual activation of their DNA. It's that dormant DNA, what's been classified as junk, right? But
Mhm.
it's part of our DNA that has been dormant that is getting activated through these processes. And it is allowing us to step into a higher version of ourselves. It is giving us that opportunity. And so, then to answer your question, yes, absolutely. I've noticed through my journey that, like I was sharing with you just a few moments ago, when all of this began, as far as working, like the first goddess I would consider myself working with was the Divine Mother, Mother Mary. And she has been with me for a number of years, and she's still with me. However, and what I'm seeing in my own life, because I'm stepping into another version of myself, I've now I now have Goddess Isis who has shown up for me, that is showing me new avenues and new paths and activating another part of me to move forward. And so I feel, and I watch this in my clients as well. And so what I feel is that as we all continue to grow and progress, as long as we're open to the highest divine plan for our life, our
Yes.
guidance team will um, it will expand and grow as we do, and it will like people will the guides will switch in and out to the ones that can best support us at the time. And the other thing I've noticed real quick is that I used to work with more of a male, more of the masculine, more of Archangel Michael, Master Saint Germain, Master Amoria. And although I still work with them, I've noticed this huge shift in the divine feminine over the last few years.
Yes, yes. And I remember when you were working with more of the kind of the masculine energies, and I was too. And I also didn't realize too in my own journey that actually working with Goddess Kali, in the
Hmm.
very beginning, but I didn't recognize
Sure.
that through kind of my own dark night of the soul. So I love what you're saying, and you're explaining it so well and so beautifully that these goddesses and these energies, as you said, as long as we remain open to continuing to choose our highest path and our highest potential. And I can just really feel for you, the energy of Goddess Kali is just so powerful. And I can really just, I mean, you are really opened up so much with her, with your own wings, your own angel wings, it feels like, and just beautifully embracing this power and these gifts that she's gifting you from Isis. And I just love this. This is just amazing, amazing um, story that you're sharing and experience. So, um, is there some guidance that you can provide our listeners with of how they might be able to connect with Goddess Isis that maybe she shared with you that we can share with the listeners today?
Yeah, I would say absolutely, Laura, for those that have just a smallest inclination or draw to the goddess, to really open that pathway up of communication, call
Mhm.
her in, ask her, if you're feeling led or you're feeling a connection with her, call her forth in meditation. Ask her to present herself to you if there's something she's to show you. I have a lot of things that I work with that remind me of her, that help me keep my energy connected. I wear a lot of lapis. Lapis lazuli to me represents her completely. My dear friend Janet made me this set of beautiful wings of Isis that I call them, which are also made of lapis and copper, because I see her, Laura, in like this beautiful gold, green, blue energy. That's how she appears to me. So that, just having tangible things that you can connect with. You can also get an ida, a goddess deck, and that's
Mhm.
specifically for a goddess Isis. And then you can go through the Sophia code and do the activation. That is powerful. And that's part of what I failed to mention earlier, that when I got back from that retreat, Laura, in January, I was led to go back through that initiation of Isis in the Sophia Code. And I'm going to tell you, friend, it almost blew my socks off. Like the surge of energy that came up my spine, it was like that Kundalini awakening, right? Oh my goodness, like surged up the spine, out of the top of my head, blew out my heart space into my hands. I mean, it was just phenomenal. So all these things will help our listeners connect in with her, and just slowly, building up to that energy, because it's a strong energy. It's very strong. And your physical vessel, that's another thing that I've really been like, so the last several years, I've been guided to really clean up my diet, eat particular foods, all of that, right? As I know you have as well. After I went through this initiation, talk about another level of that, right? So I've been very focused on my physical health, my body, my strength, the cleanliness, all of that. So, because we have to prepare the physical vessel in order to hold the light of these energies.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I'm really glad you brought that up because I got the same guidance about 2 years ago from my own guides that we had to strengthen our bodies. We had to really begin to nourish our bodies, through our diet and through rest and clean eating and water and resting and really nurturing our bodies because our body devas are the temple, but they're
Hmm.
more dense. And a lot of times we can go through a lot of initiations and we can go through that in our, our soul, in our soul energy, but we have to allow more time for the body to integrate the light, to bring the light in and to hold this light. And I think that I totally agree with you. That's been my same kind of experience. And as we move into even 2021, I think going to be even more asked of us in a sense to really change our diets. And I know for myself, going vegan, I think, is probably going to be the way that a lot of us are going to be guided, or maybe becoming fruitarians or, something like that. But yeah, great point. So important that we really pay attention to the body, because we're ascending with our bodies in this
Right.
lifetime. We're bringing our
Exactly.
bodies. So
Yes.
super important. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, everyone, and stay with us. And also, let me just invite you, if you'd like to call in with a question for Carolyn, or write in with a question. She's happy to take your questions or anything around our topic today. So stay with us. We'll be right back. So welcome back, everyone, to Get Your Goddess Groove On. And today I have a very special guest and dear friend, Carolyn Jones. And we are talking about her experiences with the beautiful but powerful goddess Isis, and how she has been bringing forth for Carolyn and her community and her clients some beautiful new practices and information that she's sharing with us today. So, Carolyn, I'd love to hear more about what Goddess Isis has shared with you about the sacred womb space, and how this is being brought online today, because this is similar guidance I've been getting from Mary's, as well as, this kind of next leading edge of ascension, and where we're coming into the embodiment of our soul light again, and our higher self aspects. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely, Laura. So she has really been focusing with me and also several of my clients on the sacred womb, which is held within the second chakra of the body, right below the belly button, about 3 inches, right? And so her focus has been, to me and others, to really understand the energy that is housed there, to understand the energy, the original of the creation, because this is our creation center, right? That's why it is called and referred to as the sacred womb. And that there, and to also understand the enormous power that is held within this chakra. And so to be very mindful of what is blocking us in that chakra, because many of us, especially as women, have experienced some sort of trauma there. Whether it be sexual trauma, whether we might have had miscarriages, maybe abortions, whatever that has been for us. And even if we haven't experienced trauma, but well, not that kind of trauma per se, but perhaps we've our self-esteem or our self-worth, maybe we've had emotional abuse that's caused that, and that's where all of that resides, Laura, in the body, in that chakra. And so she's been very focused on about clearing this energy center and helping people to understand, like I said, first of all, the power that resides there, and then helping them to get in touch with what are you still holding on to. And this is what's been coming through a lot in my sessions. What are you still holding on to in this center of your body that is keeping you from being able to stand more fully in who you are, and being able to access more of your higher self, and being able to step into a more powerful version of yourself? And so that has been the focus recently. And she's also shared with me that the more this energy center clears, Laura, the more that golden fire breath that I shared earlier in the call, the more the power of that breath intensifies, and the
Mhm.
more alchemy and magic comes with that. And through that, Laura, we're able to manifest more of what we want, because this is our manifestation chakra. This is where we
Yes,
hold
it
our
is.
creativity and our abundance as well.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. And I'm so glad you're sharing that. And, because I've been getting very similar, it's like the divine feminine flow, is pure unconditional love. It's pure unconditional love, which is also the energy that flows through us through our sexual centers. It flows through, it is the pure creation energy that
Mhm.
flows through, that births babies, that births new ideas, that brings forth new life literally into
Right.
the world.
Right.
So, I think that we're getting amped up in a way. And like you're saying, with this beautiful fire breath that Isis shared with you is giving you such a beautiful, powerful tool to help to be able to tap into that energy, to begin to bring it forth, to be able to create these beautiful new manifestations of heaven on earth, whatever that heart's desire is. I like to say that
Mhm.
you're here, you're meant to bring through into the new world, whatever that birthing that is.
Right.
um it's time.
It is time. It is time, Laura. And the clear and the cleaner that our energy vessel is. And what I mean by that is the more of the density that we clear out, comprised of our thoughts, our beliefs, our conditions, these old patterns, everything that we have, I'll just say things that have been imposed upon us and things that we have accepted upon, that we've taken on ourselves and we've accepted as truths, things that have become limiting to us, things that hold us back, that cause us not to believe in ourselves. All that stuff, Laura, all of it, my friend, has to go.
You are speaking, girl, you are speaking my truth, sister, because I it really used to bother me about the thoughts. And I
Hmm.
had so many thoughts myself, and I'm like, where are all these thoughts coming from? And it's crazy. And then really I was able to understand that it's really interesting, since I teach Akashic Records, that our womb space is like an Akashic record.
Yeah.
Everything that happens into our world from birth, before birth, everything is getting imprinted into that womb space for women and men.
Right.
Even from this lifetime and previous lifetimes. And so layers upon layers upon layers of density, like you're talking about thoughts and emotions, repressed emotions and beliefs
Hmm.
and traumas, and everything has to be cleared from our womb space for both women and for men too. We both have that
Right.
creative portal.
Right. And also, Laura, we've got all that. And then that doesn't even cover the energetic imprints that we've taken on, right, through the umbilical cord, that have been passed down generationally. And so we carry those energetic imprints with us as well. And so we have to really get in touch with all of this. And I do that through different processes. And, there's many ways to access it. For me, I love to journal. I love to get it all out on paper. And a lot of times I'll just do just a brain dump. I keep two separate journals, my gratitude journal, then the one that I just pour thoughts and energy into, that stuff I need to let go of. And then I'll have a nice little, fire burning at the fire pit to release all that. But there's many ways that you can do that. You can paint, and you can do expressive dance, and, just whatever calls to you. But it's so important to get in touch with these energies and then figure out ways to clear and release them and transmute them.
Absolutely. And it's time. It's definitely time for us to step into this next level of power
Hmm.
and prepare our bodies and prepare, our womb, our second chakra, prepare ourselves to receive, these energies that are continuing to come into the planet, because we're the vessels, we're the pillars of light. And I'm not talking about a little bitty stream of light. I'm talking about our chakras and our womb space. We're becoming a column of light between heaven
Yes.
and earth and heaven. And
Yes.
the upper half of the body is the air energy, the energy of heaven. But the lower half, from the third chakra down, or in the heart being the bridge, is the feminine energies coming up, the energies from the earth. From earth is the goddess. Those are um magnifying magnetic energies. So we've got the electric
Yes.
energy, the magnetic energies, and we're interchanging all these energies, and our bodies are getting acclimated. And this is the marriage of the twin halves. And
Yes.
I think that's where we're headed, and we're being asked to embody, and prepare our body temple to for more of this integration, just like you know Isis has been guiding you and your clients. I mean, that is just so I think super important. And I think this is the leading edge, or you could call it the next phase of our ascension, is
Hmm.
the embodiment of our soul, so that we can really become the true divine human.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I try to always share with people, Laura. Like these energies that are coming in right now, they are so incredibly powerful. And I like to think of it as the snow globe effect. Okay. So the energies come in, they hit your vessel, you're inside this glass globe, and you just get shook all around, right? And things are flying everywhere, and then things start to settle, and that's how I experience it. Like the densities that we were talking about earlier, like those densities get hit, and then that causes us to get frustrated, or we might find ourselves in anger, or maybe we're sad and we don't know why. And I try to encourage people to know it's just part of the clearing process. It's just that higher light coming in, bringing all this stuff to the surface so we can clear it out so that we can step into those full versions of ourselves, because we have such beautiful divine missions, Laura. All of us do. We're here. We all came here. All of us that are here at this time chose to be here, right? And some
Yes.
of us have these really big missions to fulfill. And we know who we are. And sometimes it gets a little daunting and we're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get all this done? But this is part of the growth process and the opportunity that's for us.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Absolutely. And I love where you're taking this, and Isis is guiding you now. And I would love to talk a little bit about the grounding for the body, because
Yes.
I know this is super important. I know, for myself, most of my life, I was ungrounded until I started my journey, and I began to, like you were beautifully sharing, we sometimes are riding the roller coaster of the
Yeah.
emotional body, because the emotional body is, from what I've understand, is the most traumatized of all the
Yeah.
bodies. The emotional, because it lays at the layer next to the physical body. And this
Hmm.
is how the physical body processes, is through our emotional body. So we go on these roller coaster rides you're talking about, more light comes in, and then everything gets shaken up, and then we are shaken up, and the dense energies are floating up to the consciousness, to the surface, for us to
Yes.
then sit with and recognize, honor, and process. And then we can integrate more of that light of our own soul, and we can, into the divine blueprint, I call it.
Hmm.
But what I have noticed is that we have to be really grounded in our body in order to do the processing, because if we're out of body, we can't really process at these deeper levels. You know what I mean? Is
I
there
know
any
exactly.
guidance you can give us around that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just say the grounding is so important, just to echo that. It is so important. And I, like you, it took me probably until I was in my 40s to get in my body fully. So it's been a lifelong journey. But yes, so several things that our listeners could do is I like to, in meditation, I like to close my eyes and imagine that beautiful column of light coming all the way down through me, and then really going, like dropping a grounding cord from my root chakra and literally plugging it into the ground. I imagine literally like a plug, like you would stick in a light socket, going into the earth and grounding my energy from the root, and then also having that energy come through my feet. On those days that I'm feeling that real high bliss, Laura, and I mean, it's coming in and I'm just like, wee, right? I have to step it up a bit. So I literally will drop a grounding cord from my heart space and tap it all the way down. And sometimes I have to literally go outside and just stand on the earth barefoot and connect in and feel the earth beneath my feet, to feel that grass and the dirt and whatever beneath me, to really touch in, because it's like I'm so up and so high that I just can't quite get down. It's like a balloon, right? So you're having to kind of pull it down. So that helps me. Other things, just energetic maintenance during those times. Again, I work with a lot of crystals. So I utilize smoky quartz, I utilize black tourmaline. I like to take Epsom salt baths The water is very cleansing and clearing, but it can also be very grounding, very supportive for the body. And that's the piece that we really all have to be mindful of during this passageway, is that the body is taking a big hit. So we really need to make sure we're caring um, very well for ourselves, and feeding ourselves really good nutrients and foods. And so and then also just sometimes I just dance. I just do some creative dance. I put on some good music that I enjoy. Tribal music is really good, Laura. It really activates that root chakra. And
Yes.
even if you're just in your own space at home, just pop on some good music and dance, and that will really anchor. And then Jan and I also we'll do drum circles, and that drumming. And I notice you've got a nice drum on your wall. That drumming will really also ground you and anchor you into the earth.
Yes, that's a really, really good tip right there, the shamanic drumming. And if you don't own a drum, you can go out there and find free tracks of drumming on YouTube or
Mm-hmm.
other music sources. But I was actually started drumming again recently, and I was noticing that same observation, that it really helps our root chakra, because it's more of that tribal, chakra. And I think it's pulling up those kind of ancient, previous past lives that we had, dancing around the fire or dancing, with
Yes.
the tribal community. And I noticed that I was able to really feel a more grounded sense with my body,
Right.
and totally getting out. And I try to get out and also go out in nature and walk and take my shoes off. And I think that's so super important, because it helps to rebalance our biosphere of our energy, with those beautiful negative ions from Mother Earth, or just hugging a tree. That's one of
Yes.
the most, refreshing things. And or going to the beach if you live near the beach, or a water source that
Yeah. The lake.
I
Yeah.
find, the lake or a river.
Mm-hmm.
I try to do that a couple times a week, and it really does refresh and clear. Like you're saying, we've got to get super clear,
Yeah.
and we're really being called to really clear out our fields of these dense energies, or energies that are not ours, or the ancestors' energies, or energies we've picked up, is so super important right now.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
um, what other guidance would you like, or is there a message that from for humanity that Goddess Isis would like to share before we close our show out today?
Yeah,
Or
I
any?
know she's really, what she wants to bring through is it's about love. It's love of self, love of others, and loving from that unconditional space, Laura. And
Mhm.
also empowerment, and empowering yourself so that you're able to empower those around you, and understanding who you are on a spiritual level, and how you are showing up in this physical vessel, in this physical life, but that you are this spiritual being on a human journey, and tapping into that spiritual aspect of yourself and knowing yourself more fully, and learning how to work with the energies of the body, and understanding how the energies of the body are so connected to, like we've been talking about, the earth and the heavens, and bringing that all in, and understanding the creation power that each of us
Yes.
holds within our being, and that no one is a victim. No one is a victim. We are all conscious creators, and we have the ability and power to consciously create in this life, and to rise above the density, to rise above the chaos, to choose a different life, to choose a different world, and to choose the world in which we want to be inhabiting peace, love, and harmony.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Absolutely. And when we make that choice to follow that narrow path, in a sense, it's a narrow path, right? And the path of light, the middle path, and we choose that, the universe comes in so powerfully. And and the goddess has been there. The divine mother has never left us. She's never
Right.
left us.
Right.
she did have to go underground, but she was always there for us, holding us and nurturing us and loving us. And, I think it's really important for people to begin to know that and to open up to that and begin to receive her love again, like you're talking about, because our womb is a space of unconditional love of the mother. That's, we're connected to the womb of the cosmic mother, that the cosmic egg. We're connected to the goddess Earth, the Earth
Mm-hmm.
Mother,
Mm-hmm.
and and she's really calling us. She's calling all of us to trust her and to walk that path of having her to come back and return and to heal any woundings and to really
Mm-hmm.
come back into her fold. And
Yeah.
boy, when you accept that, and you really embrace that and can begin to really open to receive it, your energy field is just gonna go out and blossom. I mean, it's just gonna be like, and you're gonna feel so good. And you know, there is no fear. I mean, the more
Right.
grounded that I drop in my body, the more peaceful, the more centered, the more calm, the more empowered, that I feel.
Right.
It's like superpowers. It's magical.
It
It's
is.
magical. And so, I love this messages you've been sharing with us today, from Goddess Isis. So, is there anything you'd like to share about your community, or how people can get in touch with you if they want to work with you or connect with your community? Can you share that information with them?
Sure, absolutely, Laura. They can go to our website. It's Holistic Institute of Wellness.com. We also have a free gift there if you sign up for our newsletter. We have our beginner's guide to chakras and energy. I am all, to me, everything is energy, Laura. So we wrote just a beginner's guide to really help illustrate. Even if you're advanced in this, it's got some really good tools and techniques about how to ground your energy, how to keep your energy clear and clean, and all of that. So yes, you can receive our guidebook, and then also we send out a monthly newsletter that really keeps everybody up to date just on all the additional client services and workshops and things that we're offering. We'll be rolling out a whole list of things for 2021. We're pretty much complete this year for our classes. However, we've got some new things that are cooking for 2021 that we're excited that'll be coming out soon. So they can sign up for our newsletter and get our monthly updates on that, and or follow us on Facebook at Holistic Institute of Wellness.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Carolyn, for all your beautiful sharing and love and grace and divine motherly love that you're bringing today to our community and our listeners, and that all the beautiful work you're doing in the world. We really thank you and we honor that. Thank you so much for being my guest today. And thank you all for joining us today for another version of Get Your Goddess Groove On. So if you please would love to like and share this, or leave any comments, would welcome that as too. So thank you so much. Until next time, namaste.